All right, we got some breaking news about Jeffrey Epstein as all of those documents have been leaked out into the public. Well, drip-fed. We're learning new things all the time. And now it transpires that Epstein asked staff to install hidden video cameras at his Florida home. That's according to one of the email exchanges that's now been publicised. The aide told Epstein that he planned to hide the video cameras in tissue boxes at the house. The emails are among the millions of documents that have been released by the US Department of Justice. In an email on the 5th of February 2014, Epstein instructed his associates, let's get 3 motion-detected hidden cameras that record. Thanks. He's definitely an asset, isn't he? He's definitely working for someone trying to get compromise. Of that, I am certain. Right, keeping our focus on the United States of America, let's bring into the fold the brilliant Mike Graham, US political commentator. Not that Mike Graham, this one. Michael Graham, I should say. How are you doing?
Well, all I gotta say, I just wish I could have seen the face of former President Bill Clinton when he heard that there may have been video cameras at Epstein's house. All I can imagine is him looking at his wife and going, I swear I have a twin brother I never told you about. I mean, I just can't imagine what his reaction would have been.
What's America saying about this? Because, you know, all the focus over here has been all about Prince Andrew, or sorry, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, obviously. And then, of course, Peter Mandelson. I don't know how big that's been going in America. Almost brought down the government over here.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, here you have the people who hate Donald Trump are desperate to find a way to put Donald Trump in the story and whatever. There was this new, story that came out this week that one of the documents apparently showed that back in like 2005 or 6, I apologize for not knowing the year, Trump basically told the cops, I hate this guy, get him away from me, he's a sleazeball. So that's not helping them. Republicans, just dance a jig every time that Bill Clinton's name is mentioned, or Bill Gates, who's in addition to his computer stuff, is a big donor to the Democrats, or was in the past, and other prominent Democrats. But everyone is still just using it for pure combat. Yesterday there was a hearing between where the Attorney General of the U.S. was before Congress, the Judiciary Committee, talking about how the documents are handled. And it would just turn into a shouting match and screaming, yelling. I just want to add one thing, though, to this. These documents you're seeing are not evidence in a case or, gathered by detectives who had. It is a pure document dump. It is everybody who said anything at any time. And that's why all those porn images are in there. They were captured in this thing. And there's a reason why in the U.S. system, the police don't release this information, why we do our grand juries in private. Because you want people to say what they think, even though it's not up to the standard of evidence. And what you've got is 6 million documents that are not up to the standard of evidence. You just got to feel sorry for the victims whose names have been leaked. Yeah. You got to feel sorry for just people who are just like, I'm here to deliver a pizza, Mr. Epstein. How you doing? And all of a sudden they're like, the guy with pizza, I mean, it's just, this is not how we do it. I have a better idea. Don't release stupid documents, but actually investigate and do an investigation with evidence, and put bad people in jail. But we're beyond that. People just want you to fill their social media feed with lots of lurid stories and suggestions and rumors, and that's what we got.
But what's amazing about all of this is the more I look at this, it's all the left wing. Ain't no righties in there. It's the Clintons, it's Mandelson, it's the Labour Party, the Democrat Party. It's all,
no doubt about it. It's more Democratic. There are a few, and this is what I think has gotten Republicans frustrated. It's like it's 90-10 on the left, and yet the media is 90-10 on the right. So to get out to get the right, so I amplified all that. But I mean, there's a congressional race in New Hampshire that's being impacted by this because there's a guy whose name appeared in it, and one of the employees is now running for Congress and on. So it's all over the country. People are grabbing little threads out of this, and no one's asking, okay, what does this mean? Who did you do something, or were you just like at a conference where Epstein and 500 people were also at the conference? It's just.
Yeah, I mean, this is a socialite called Lady What's-Her-Face Hervey. I forget which one it is. It basically is sort of very remote elements of the royal family who once dated Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. And she went on a radio show and it caused a huge hoo-ha because she said, well, you weren't part of the it crowd if you weren't invited down Epstein's island. And everyone's like, oh, my God. And it's like, well, that's true. That's true.
Exactly.
And isn't it the fact that Elon Musk asked to go to Epstein Island?
Sure.
It's like, I want to go for a party. And they're like, nah, we don't want Elon. He's a buzzkill.
And all that, but the guy had access to hundreds of millions of dollars. So anyone, you know how politicians are, they smell $2. They're ready to jump in, and so they wanted to go. The one thing, though, I will say on the flip side, you should have known something. Apparently, these documents showed that his private residence was decorated like a bad, late 19th century Italian bordello. I mean, like there were phalluses and female art thing, like everything in the apartment. Like you try to turn the door. Oh, I don't want to touch that doorknob. They were all so. Yeah, the guy was a creep. Stay away from the creeps.
I tell you what is really surprising, because it seems to me, I think it's becoming like very clear that he must have been working for some foreign handlers. He was getting some compromise. He was up to all sorts of weird stuff. But the person you would expect to see pop up on his island would be Berlusconi, right? The old Prime Minister of Italy who loved a bunga party. Why is he not in there?
So I don't agree with you that we've said the evidence that this is a foreign compromise. There's another argument, which is this guy apparently came from modest background. Why would not his own compromise? There's that banker who loaned him like $484 million. I apologize, the numbers off the top of my head. I mean, why run your own scam? And there's nothing new about getting information on people and hustling them for cash afterwards. And then once the snowball starts rolling, you could do very, very well. Here's my prediction. My prediction is by Election Day in the U.S., which is in November, there's going to be so much garbage that the real gems of bad behavior, the real nuggets of really are going to be lost, and it's going to be a wash on the political system. That's how it looks.
I do sometimes feel that, having all of this stuff and dumping it is diluting the core stuff that we really do need to know about. I totally agree with that. I'm amazed, actually, because I do some commentary for a channel over in America, and they haven't been on the blower to me lately. Say, oh, can you come on and talk about the Keir Starmer stuff? Does America even know that the Prime Minister almost got booted out over this?
Keir who? What? I'm sorry, what's that? Who's the guy?
Yeah,
Dude, look at America. Americans are clueless. Most Americans don't even know that the capital of Canada is Maine. So we don't know. What do we know? We don't know. It's all the same. It's like, it's America, and then there's the place we go to get croissants and the place we go to get beer and bad food, and that's your place. And that's what we know.
Oh, I thought that was honestly, when you said beer and bad food, my first thought was Germany.
Germany. No, you're absolutely right. And I have to be honest with you. I love Britain. I love Ireland. And I every time I step soil in your beautiful country, I have one goal: the greatest fry up. I'm a huge fry up.
Can I just say, you talk about British having bad food, right? Yeah. And you Americans go absolutely, you go mad for Thanksgiving dinner, right? You're like, oh, well, it's Thanksgiving. Let's roast a turkey. I'm like, we do that every Sunday.
Yeah, not like we do for Thanksgiving. We let it go. But so where are you on the fry up, though? Because I've been disturbed by the number of Brits who are like, meh. I'm like, are you kidding? This is one of the greatest. It's Shakespeare and the fry up. They're like right there together. I'm telling you,
Michael, you're talking to a woman who's a big believer in meat. I love a protein. I love fatty stuff. In fact, my ex and I, we had some fun together. Never mind. We used to go and literally try every single greasy spoon restaurant wherever we were. We loved a fry up. And I'm a bit of a pedant, though. There are certain things which I find abominable in fry-ups that are creeping, like fancy fry-ups. And people try and be like, oh, look, here's some sort of flageolet beans in homemade tomato sauce with nduja sausage. I'm like, get away. No one wants that.
So I was at a restaurant, they brought me the fry-up, and none of the food was touching the other food. I'm like, this isn't right. It's supposed to all be in there together, like fighting for. I want the mushrooms slinging elbows at the bangers. You're like, come on, give me a plate.
Basically,
man.
This is the most important thing, right? So first of all, fry-up bacon is its own bacon. You can't buy that stuff in a supermarket. It's like some weird industrial bacon that is extra thick, extra salty, and you can never fully render that fat. That's proper stuff. It comes from a Breaks Brothers delivery vehicle. You cannot get that down the supermarket. Second of all, your sausage should be just some sort of sad, pathetic meat paste. I don't want a sausage with herbs in it and actual pork. I want something that's gross.
Absolutely. When else can you enjoy it now? So the greatest fry up I've had yet was actually in Belfast. They brought in a skillet and all the grease were on it. And I discovered when I ate down, they had lined the bottom of the skillet with that thin Irish bread they have. and the bread had absorbed all the fat and grease, and so it made this pasty gravy at the. Oh my God!
So but that is just called fried bread. Once upon a time, you would always have fried bread with your fry up, and all of a sudden, someone decided that wasn't fancy anymore. It's hard to get fried bread these days, and I'll tell you what I really disagree with. Right?
Okay.
Now, on the regular fry up in the UK, the full English.
Right.
Now established seems to have become those horrible things in America that you have, those triangles of blimmin' potato bits, hash browns.
No. Burn, singe things. Come on. Let's just squashy tomatoes and squashy mushrooms. Just loving it in. And my God, because look, I've got a hangover I need to cure. Let's cut to the chase. The reason I seek the fry up in the morning is because the night before it was 17 Guinness. Guinness. Yeah, so that's where I am.
That is the function of the fry up. The function of the fry up is to fill your face with fat because you've got too much booze still swilling around your system. And you know, I'm a Puritan on this. I want a fried egg. I don't want scrambled. I certainly don't want poached. I love a poached egg, but it's not the time and the place. I want egg snot. You know, I want it to not be... In America, I get so confused, right? Because in the UK, you're like, I want a fried egg. And they fry an egg. You go to America and it's all this over easy, sunny side up, this special language for eggs. I'm like, just put it in a pan and fry it for crying out loud.
Well, do you ever, though, have a place that fries the egg all the way through so the yolk is a piece of concrete? Because that's the problem here. I grew up in the rural South, and you have this whole tradition of concrete eggs because they're, I don't know what it is. And so you don't want that. You want an egg that still has life to it. So you got to be careful in the U.S. You're playing defense. That's why you say over easy or sunny side up.
So what does over easy mean? Does that mean like runny yolk or not?
Over easy means you let it cook until it's a firm fry up base. You know what I'm saying? So you can move it around. It doesn't fall apart. And then when you've got a firm fry up base, then you take the egg and you turn it over once just for like 12, 15 seconds, just so it gives you a coating. And flip it out. So all you're doing is you're just, instead of the open eye, you get the lid. That's all you're really doing. Instead of the sunny eye, you know, you're just covering it over a little bit.
Just fry the blimmin' egg. I must say though that one thing I love about America, and you can't find it in the UK. Oh, we got your McDonald's and your KFC and all of that nonsense. But one thing you cannot find, not even in London, as far as I've tried and looked, is you can't get grits. And I love grits.
And particularly if they're done. So the problem is, and once again, I grew up in the rural South where grits were they were part of our regular diet. People make them into soupy, syrupy, thin stuff. There's this cream of wheaty stuff. I don't know what that is. So they make it like that. No, grits should be so thick that when you stick your fork in them, it just stays right there. And that's the trick.
And then largely a savoury thing because, you know, I had grits in America. I had like some cheesy grits with shrimp and things like that. And I was like, this is best.
It's great. It's absolutely great. Shrimp and grits, South Carolina, where I grew up, it's a local dish, and it's spicy sausage and shrimp and onions, peppers, and celery, and you make a little gravy. Then you have that big lump of grits with salt and pepper only. That's all. And then you ladle that over it, and the grits it just extends it out. It's magnificent. And the next time I'm in London, on my way to Belfast to get that Ulster fry, I will make you shrimp and grits. How about that?
Oh my gosh, can we? Can we just do a food? Can we just come up with a food show? That'd be great. Because you got that thing about diners.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll take you on a tour of greasy spoons around the UK where you turn it into a TV program. It'd be great.
I never met a grease I didn't like. Send me on. I will take it all. And I got some greasy spoon recipes up my sleeve I will share with you.
I'm pleased to hear that. I actually think that some of that soul food from America is some of the best food going, and yet we just get all of your sort of fast food rubbish, which is like, you know, all right, hot dogs and, you know, burgers and stuff like that.
You can do hot dogs, or you can go to Chicago and get the Maxwell Street hot dogs where they singe the outside of the casing so it opens up and kind of blackens. And then you put this red sauce with onions in it, and the sauce gets in under the casing, and then you lay it in the bun, and you put hot peppers alongside it and a pickle in the bun. I'm telling you, that's more than just a hot dog.
Do you know, I love the fact I had on here, we were going to talk about the shooting in Canada and the BBC lawsuit. We've not done any of those things, but I don't care. It's been lovely chatting with you anyway, Michael. And, you know, food is my favourite thing on earth. I live to eat me. I don't eat to live. I live to eat. Michael Graham, thank you ever so much. And I'm really up for the idea of doing a sort of tour of greasy spoons with him. That's clearly going to be so much fun, isn't it? We got to take